You are at a family gathering. Your baby has been happy all afternoon, laughing, charming everyone in the room. And then your grandmother reaches out and takes the baby from your arms. And your baby loses it. Full meltdown. Immediate, complete, devastating. The person who was smiling 1 second ago is now screaming as if something genuinely terrible has happened. The room goes awkward. And somewhere in the back of your mind, you think the same thing every parent thinks in that moment. Does my baby know something I don't? It turns out to be surprisingly close to the truth, because what is actually happening inside your baby's brain the moment a stranger picks them up is not a tantrum, it is not manipulation. It is one of the most sophisticated threat detection systems in the animal kingdom, firing at full capacity. And it only turns on at a very specific moment in development, for a very specific reason. Let us start with what most people believe. The baby is spoiled. The baby has been held too much. The baby is manipulating you. Or maybe it is just a phase with no meaning at all. These explanations are not just wrong. They are the opposite of what the neuroscience shows. The crying when a stranger holds your baby is not random. It is not a learned behavior. It is a precisely timed neurological event directly linked to one of the most important developmental milestones of the first year of life. And if your baby is doing it, it means something remarkable has happened inside their brain. Here is the clue that tells us everything. Stranger anxiety does not appear in newborns. A 1-month-old goes to anyone. Even at 4 or 5 months, most babies are still happy to be passed around. Then, somewhere between 6 and 9 months, almost like a switch was flipped, everything changes. The baby who used to smile at strangers now screams at them. The baby who was passed around at parties now clings to you like you are the only safe surface in the world. Something happened in the brain. Something very specific. And to understand what it was, we need to look at a structure called the amygdala. The amygdala is a small almond-shaped structure deep inside the brain. In adults, it is the brain's primary threat detection system. It processes fear, evaluates danger, and triggers the fight or flight response. When you feel a sudden jolt of fear, that is your amygdala firing. In newborns, the amygdala exists but is not fully functional. It cannot yet evaluate complex social threats or distinguish between familiar and unfamiliar faces in a meaningful way. The hardware is there. The software has not yet been installed. Research published in Developmental Psychobiology has shown that fear of strangers and fear of heights, the two universal fears that emerge in the second half of the first year, are both directly linked to a specific period of amygdala maturation. The amygdala comes online at approximately 6 to 9 months. And the moment it does, the world looks different to your baby. Before amygdala maturation, strangers are just more faces. After amygdala maturation, your baby has a threat detector, and the first thing that detector does is learn who is safe. Because the amygdala does not just detect threats in general, it has been building a very specific internal map. Researchers studying infant face recognition have found that by 6 months of age, babies have developed a neural representation of their primary caregivers, a face map, a deep, neurologically encoded understanding of the specific faces that mean safety, food, warmth, and survival. This face map is built through thousands of hours of repetitive exposure. Every time you feed your baby, hold your baby, make eye contact with your baby, your face is being written more deeply into their neural architecture. The baby's brain has studied you with the focus of a detective. It knows you. And then a stranger walks in. The amygdala compares the stranger's face to the neural map. The faces do not match. The voice is wrong. The smell is different. And the amygdala sends a clear signal. This is not my person. I do not know if this is safe. There is a second layer that makes this even more remarkable. Around the same time the amygdala matures, babies develop something called object permanence. the understanding that things continue to exist even when you cannot see them. Before this, out of sight is genuinely out of mind. When you leave the room, you simply stop existing for your baby. But with object permanence, your baby now knows you are somewhere. And if you are somewhere and they cannot reach you, that is a problem worth signaling. This is why stranger anxiety peaks when it does. The baby now has both the threat detector and the understanding of your absence working together. A stranger has my body. My person is somewhere. I need my person. Cry? Research from Harvard's Center on the Developing Child provides perhaps the most powerful reframe of all. The infant amygdala is not just detecting danger. It is being calibrated by the caregiver's responses. When your baby looks at your face in a moment of uncertainty, they are reading your expression to determine how safe the world is. This is called social referencing. If you smile, the world is probably safe. If you look tense, maybe it is not. This is why your own anxiety about handing the baby to someone can make stranger anxiety worse. The baby reads your hesitation, and the amygdala escalates accordingly. So what is happening when a stranger picks up your baby? The amygdala is running its first fully operational threat scan. The face map does not match. Object permanence is generating awareness of your absence, and social referencing is scanning for confirmation. If the stranger is unfamiliar, if you look uncertain, if the transition was abrupt, all three systems flag simultaneously. The result is the meltdown at your grandmother's house. A longitudinal study tracking 1,285 infants found 4 distinct developmental trajectories for stranger fear. In every pattern, the fundamental timeline was the same. Emerged at 6 to 9 months, peaked between 10 and 18 months, faded between 2 and 3 years. That timeline precisely tracks amygdala maturation, object permanence development, and the gradual building of what researchers call the trust framework. The baby's expanding circle of people who register as safe in the neural face map. Babies who are held consistently and given time to warm up to new people develop the trust framework faster. The stranger anxiety resolves because the stranger eventually gets added to the face map. They become familiar. They become safe. So I want to give you a completely different way to see that moment. The one where your baby clung to you and screamed at your grandmother. That was not rejection. That was not spoiling. That was your baby's brain operating exactly as it was designed to. The amygdala was working, the face map was accurate, the object permanence system was functioning, and the social referencing system was active. Every single one of those neurological developments is a milestone, and your baby just demonstrated all of them simultaneously. The person who got screamed at is not being told they are unsafe. They are being told, "You are not yet in my database." That is not a permanent rejection. It is a temporary classification. When your grandmother looks hurt because the baby cried, here is what you can tell them. The crying means, my baby now has a brain sophisticated enough to know who its person is. Every hour I have spent holding and responding and making eye contact has been written into my baby's brain so deeply that my face is literally encoded as safety itself. The crying is not about you. The crying is about how much the baby has learned to trust me. And that trust is the foundation of everything. The baby will learn to trust you too. Give it time and gentle repetition. The face map will update. The amygdala is not closed. It is just thorough. As with every video in this series, there is a distinction worth knowing. Stranger anxiety that emerges at 6 to 9 months, peaks at 12 to 18 months, and fades by 2 to 3 years is completely normal and healthy. But if your baby shows no stranger awareness at all by 9 to 12 months, that is worth mentioning to your pediatrician. The absence of stranger anxiety, rather than its presence, can occasionally be an early signal worth monitoring. Similarly, if it intensifies, rather than reduces into the 3rd year, or extends to family members seen regularly, That is also worth a conversation. Trust your observations. That conversation is never wasted. So the next time your baby clings to you and cries when someone else tries to hold them, remember, they are not being difficult. They are not spoiled. Their amygdala is online. Their face map is built. And you are at the center of it. If this changed how you see that moment at the family gathering, subscribe to this channel. Drop a comment below. Has your baby done this? Gone from perfectly happy to inconsolable the moment a stranger picked them up?